We are going to be talking about the portfolio, and this is the new portfolio that the ICB has for you. Okay, so first of all, we are going to be discussing the fact that there is now just a single PoE. We are also going to touch very briefly on some of the technical requirements as they relate to Chrome. We will look at the assignments, we will look at the tests, you will complete one set of assignments, one set of class tests, one upload with your one exam. If you need to postpone or rebook an exam, you will retain that PoE. So in other words, you do not need to complete another one, you do not need to redo the assignments, you do not need to redo the class tests. Everything will remain the same. The same applies if you need to resit an exam. In other words, you are found not yet competent and you need to redo that exam. The assignments, the class tests, the upload will all remain the same. Very, very important. All portfolios must be completed before the exam starts. There are no late submissions. Chrome is the default browser for your PoE, and you need to use it. Yes, you can probably access the PoE using another browser. However, the full functionality of the PoE is not going to be available to you if you are not using Chrome. So when we say you need to use Chrome, please, we are being very, very serious about this. Do not try it in another browser. All you need to do is compromise yourself. Another new, very, very important section to the PoE is the ID verification. For your ID verification, you are required to upload, number one, a copy of your ID. Number two, a head and shoulders shot of yourself. It needs to be clear. You may not wear a hat. You may not wear a cap. You may not wear a beanie. You may not wear sunglasses, and it needs to be in color. This ID verification is only done once. So once you're on the system, that is fine. You do not need to do it again. The ID verification process is completed by an ICB agent, and if it is approved, you will be able to move on with the PoE. However, if it is not approved, you will receive a notification that it has been rejected and you need to start again. With the new PoE, we have got 3 assignments. Essentially, your PoE is divided into 3 learning phases. So for each learning phase, there is an assignment. For learning phase 1 and learning phase 2, the assignments are completed online. So you do not need to download anything, you do not need to print anything. It is all done online through the PoE. There is no time limit to completing the assignments. However, you have to complete it in a single login. In other words, you log in, start the assignment. You may not log out and log back in again to carry on. Assignment 3 is a little bit different. And this one you do need to download. You will download the document, complete the assignment offline, then scan that and upload it as a single PDF document to your PoE. Again, this is very important. Allow yourself enough time in which to get this done. If you don't, you may find that it gets to the day of the exam and there's a technical problem and you're unable to upload your PDF. It means you will get 0 for that assignment. Very important as well, the ICB no longer accepts hard copies of any assignments. So from the assignments, we move on to the tests. In contrast to the assignments, the tests are timed. With the assignments, you get 1 attempt. That is it. With the tests, you are offered 2. Okay, and I will go into that in a little bit more detail shortly. Very importantly, at least 1 attempt is compulsory. The tests are auto-marked. So in other words, you will receive your results back as soon as you click submit. With the tests, they are online and they are timed. So in other words, you have a set amount of time in which to complete that test. You may not log out, you may not log back in, that is it. The tests are closed book. You do not have the time to sit and look up answers. So in other words, you need to know your work very well in order to pass. With the 2 attempts, what we're allowing is that if you feel you have done 1 attempt and you're unhappy with the result and you would like to do a second one, you're welcome to. It's there. However, it is the second result mark that carries through to your final formative assessment mark. So just think about that one very, very carefully. If you do worse in the second attempt, that is the mark that is going to be used towards your final formative mark. So let's look at each of the PoEs in turn. And so we have a number of changes which I've highlighted here for you. Welcome and introduction stays the same. You've all seen that before, and so you can expect to find that there. What is new is understanding the ICB assessment process. This requires you to work through that particular section of your PoE and acknowledge certain things in order for you to be able to move on to the next activity. Your students' rights and responsibilities are there. These are your rights as students and your responsibilities as students, because we are not responsible for your uploads. You are. There's also understanding plagiarism. Plagiarism, of course, is a big problem in higher education, and there are repercussions. Practice questions, we have a new format for these. The practice questions are very, very important and are key to you actually succeeding. The format of the questions is so that you can practice questions and answers for your assignments, for your class tests, and for your exams. So the format, the way that those questions are structured, you will find in your main assessments. Okay, assignment ID verification we have touched on. The assignment 1, which is the new format, and as I mentioned, that is online. Test 1, also completed online. Assignment 2, which is the new format, which is done online. Test 2, which is online. Assignment 3, the new format. This is the one that you download, complete offline, scan, and upload to your PoE. At the end, we have a submission of formative assessment. So this is new in that you have to click that you have put everything through. Okay, there will be more detail on this in our next session. At the end, of course, there is also the portfolio survey. So the portfolio is called a course and is named according to the subject that has been booked. So in other words, it will be bookkeeping to trial balance, computerized bookkeeping, etc. Okay. All portfolios are digital and must be completed on Mackie. This is non-negotiable. Okay. Face-to-face students, you will have your portfolio available to you immediately. If you've previously logged onto Mackie, make use of that username and password. Okay. An email is only sent to first-time users. However, if you have forgotten your username or password, please refer to the knowledge base. There is an article there that clearly explains how you overcome that obstacle. So the PoE is locked in steps, okay, that are in line with the study phases. So in other words, you need to complete study phase 1 or learning phase 1 before you can move on to learning phase 2. Similarly, you need to complete learning phase 2 before you can move on to learning phase 3. Okay. All portfolios are to be completed before the start of the exam. And please, I cannot stress this enough, make sure that it is done well in advance of that exam. So one of the things that I need to reiterate is how you can access the assignments and how many times you can log in. Okay, accessing the assignments is through your PoE. Okay, you can only log into your assignment once. If you do not complete that assignment and you log out, that is it. That is counted as your attempt. Okay, so please be very careful about that. Okay, do not shut your computer down while you're busy with an assignment.